The Paladin is a classic of D&D, and historically, one of the hardest classes to play. At least back in the day, the Paladin was the epitome of the goody two-shoes, the embodiment of lawful good, and consequently always fun to bring to parties, and probably the most challenging class to play in terms of the constraints put on them. So role-playing them was incredibly difficult, since any deviation from the tenets of law and good could land them in hot water, and ultimately deprive them of their abilities that make them a paladin, something that possibly made them the most difficult class to play. On top of that, having players in the party that didn't line up well with the paladin's ethos and morality could cause problems, and furthermore, only humans could be paladins. These days, in 5th edition, the path of the paladin is still a more constrained class than many other classes, by dint of the oaths they swear, but within these choices there is variety, and some flexibility, which ends up making paladins both interesting and dynamic to play. Rather than being rigidly locked into a specific alignment, paladins of 5th edition pursue different aspects of good through the oaths they swear, and are empowered by both the gods they follow as well as their own belief in their cause. Paladins are trained in the use of martial weapons and armor, but their true strength comes from the unique abilities they receive as paladins in adherence to their sacred oaths. Paladins are thus ultimately defined by a particular path involving an oath, and in creating a paladin character, it is useful to think in advance just what that path will be. This means that paladins swear sacred oaths that are only fully realized upon achieving level 3, but what oath the paladin will take should be considered well in advance before actually reaching level 3. Although virtually all paladins pursue the path of good, the flavor of good and the kind of interests they seek to protect and uphold are defined by the sacred oaths they swear. A paladin with ties to nature in the living world will often swear an oath of the ancients. Such paladins are often called Fey Knights or Green Knights, and paladins who choose this path seek to preserve the beauty of life and nature rather than abstract principles of honor, courage, and justice. Such a paladin thus prioritizes the preservation of the natural world, and would assign lesser value to other things that a paladin who has sworn a different oath would consider far more important, such as, for example, upholding the law. These paladins often wear the trappings of nature upon their armor, as a sign of their oath and commitment to protect and preserve life and the natural world. The tenets of paladins who swear the oath of the ancients are distinct from other, more rigid paths. Law and chaos are not important. Rather, kindness, goodness, and mercy are their hallmarks. Such an oath is guided by 4 core principles. The principle of kindle the light. Challenge despair by acts of mercy, kindness, and forgiveness, and in doing so, rekindle hope in the hopeless and lost. The principle of shelter the light. Oppose the forces of the world that despoil life and nature, and beauty, love, and laughter must be preserved against those who would destroy these things. Principle preserve your own light. Paladins of this oath must strive to maintain their own appreciation of the natural world and its beauty, whether through art or sound. For if the light of life dies in the heart of the paladin, then they can no longer preserve it in the world. The principle of be the light. Be an example to others such that you encourage them to rise above their despair, and let your deeds be guided by courage and joy for others to follow in your footsteps. Of all the oaths a paladin can swear, the oath of devotion most embodies the traditional Dungeons & Dragons image of the knight in shining armor, and the holy warrior who takes up arms to fight for justice and the greater good, maintaining the highest standards of personal conduct for themselves, and adhering to a rigid code of honor, trying to lead by example and guiding the world on a righteous path. Such paladins typically follow the classic path of law and good, and follow gods that uphold these ideals, and look to angels as their inspiration, as they personify both law and good, and wear trappings that reflect this, such as images of the heavens or angels on their armor and weapons. If you've ever wanted to play a stereotypical paladin of old, then this is the type for you. Personifying the classic qualities of the paladin. The tenets of the paladin who swears this oath reflect this. The principle of honesty. Never lie, nor cheat. Your word is your bond. The principle of courage. Caution is a byword, but never allow fear to compromise your ability to act. The principle of compassion. This oath mandates that the paladin protect the weak and punish those who would threaten them. Exercise mercy, but this must be tempered by wisdom. The principle of honor. Deal with others in fairness and let your deeds set an example to others, doing as much good as possible whilst causing as little harm as possible. The principle of duty. You must take responsibility for your actions, protect those under your care, and obey just authorities. A far more unconventional type of paladin is the paladin who swears an oath of vengeance. The paladin who follows the path of vengeance seeks to punish those who commit evil and visit harm upon innocents. This type of paladin emerges when bandits pillage and murder a village, when an orc horde ravages the countryside, or when a tyrant grows too powerful and abuses his people. Such actions provoke and call for the paladin who swears an oath of vengeance. Paladins who adhere to this oath of vengeance are less concerned about the purity of their own conduct, and far more so about punishing evildoers and exacting vengeance upon them, to the point where many may question the goodness of their actions. To them, justice is only partly about principle, and primarily about punishing evildoers. Paladins who swear an oath of vengeance adhere to tenets that dictate the punishment of wrongdoing first and foremost. They often act in ways that are seen as less than good in order to meet these goals, with some being demonstrably more neutral than their devotion-bound counterparts. The principle of fighting the greater evil. When confronting two evils, the evil you have sworn to fight must take priority over lesser evils. The principle of no mercy for the wicked. Sworn enemies and declared foes deserve neither mercy nor quarter. The principle of by any means necessary. Personal qualms or inhibitions cannot interfere with your duty to exterminate your foes. And the principle of restitution. When your enemies cause ruin to the world and others, because you could not stop them, you must aid those aggrieved by this harm. There are, of course, other oaths, but as these are the only ones in the player's handbook, we are guaranteed to get these and less likely to receive the others, although one can always hope. All paladins gain certain basic abilities. At first level, they gain divine sense, the ability to sense power emanations of good or evil. Strong evil might resonate as a foul-smelling odor, and powerful good might resound like heavenly music in the ears of the paladin. By focusing, the paladin can extend this sense out to 60 feet and pinpoint the type of creature if its aura is powerful enough, either celestial, fiend, or undead. Similarly, objects of great evil or great good can be detected in this fashion. This ability can be used a number of times equal to 1 plus the paladin's charisma modifier, and can be recharged after a long rest. A classic ability that has accompanied the paladin throughout all editions, is Lay on Hands. A paladin can use divine power to heal the wounds of others. This can heal a total number of hit points equal to the paladin's total level times 5. Alternatively, the paladin can expend 5 hit points from the pool of healing to cure 1 disease or neutralize poison, or expend multiple points to cure several diseases at once, and this ability is regained after a long rest. At level 2, a paladin can choose a fighting style, in similar fashion to a fighter, or alternatively, take Blessed Warrior, that allows the paladin to cast 2 cleric cantrip spells from the cleric spell list. Divine Smite is a unique ability that paladins receive at 2nd level, that allows them to expend 1 spell slot to deal radiant damage, in addition to basic weapon damage. 2d8 damage is done for a 1st level spell, and in addition 1d8 for each spell level above level 1, to a maximum of 5d8. At level 2, paladins gain the ability to cast divine spells using charisma as their casting attribute. At level 3, paladins really come into their own as a class, as they swear an oath forever binding them to a deity or principle. As long as they adhere to it consistently, they will be empowered by their duty to their oath. And perhaps most importantly, a paladin who swears an oath gains the ability to channel divinity, which confers powerful abilities onto the paladin, depending on their oath. An Oath of the Ancients paladin gains 2 abilities. Nature's Wrath, which allows them to ensnare enemies with spectral vines the enemy gets a saving throw against based on strength or dexterity, rolled each turn, and Turn the Faithless, which allows the paladin to turn Fey and Fiends against a wisdom saving throw or be turned for 1 minute. At level 7, a Paladin of the Ancients can form an aura of warding that confers resistance to damage from spells within 10 feet, and at 18th level, the range increases to 30 feet. At 15th level, a Paladin of this oath gains the Undying Sentinel ability, which allows them to instead choose to drop to 1 hit point if they are dropped to 0. Such a Paladin also becomes immune to magical aging and suffers no drawbacks from age. At 20th level, the Paladin of the Ancients gains the Elder Champion ability, allowing him to alter his nature, taking on a different appearance such as bark-like or moss-like texture, or even antlers or a mane. For 1 minute, upon taking this action, the Paladin gains the following benefits. At the start of each turn, the Paladin regains 10 hit points. Whenever the Paladin casts a spell that has a casting time of 1 action, the Paladin can cast it instead as a bonus action, and enemies within 10 feet have disadvantage on saving throws against the Paladin's spells and channel divinity options. Paladins who follow the Oath of the Ancients gain access to the following spells. At 3rd level, Ensnaring Strike and Speak with Animals. At 5th level, Moonbeam and Misty Step. At 9th level, Plant Growth and Protection from Energy. At 13th level, Ice Storm and Stone Skin. And at 17th level, commune with nature, and tree stride. A paladin committed to the oath of devotion can channel divinity to imbue their weapons with positive energy. For 1 minute, the paladin adds their charisma modifier to the attack rolls of their weapon, and the weapon emits bright light in a 20-foot radius, and dim light up to a further 20 feet beyond that. And if the paladin's weapon is already not magical, it becomes magical for the duration of the ability. Additionally, this type of paladin can turn the unholy, channeling divinity to turn fiends and undead, where the creature must make a wisdom saving throw or be turned for 1 minute or until it takes damage. Starting at 7th level, this paladin gains an aura of devotion, which prevents them and friendly creatures within 10 feet of them from being charmed when they are conscious. At 18th level, the range of this aura increases to 30 feet. At 15th level, the paladin of the Oath of Devotion is always under the effects of a protection from evil and good spell. At 20th level, this paladin gains the Holy Nimbus, which allows him to emanate an aura of sunlight as an action for 1 minute. Bright light shines within a 30-foot radius, and dim light shines within 30 feet beyond that. If an enemy is caught within the bright light, it takes 10 radiant damage, and the aura further gives the paladin an advantage in saving throws against spells cast by fiends and undead. This ability can be used once per long rest. And paladins who have sworn an oath of devotion gain the following spells. Level 3, Protection from Evil and Good, and Sanctuary. At 5th level, Lesser Restoration and Zone of Truth. At 9th level, Beacon of Hope and Dispel Magic. At 13th level, Freedom of Movement and Guardian of Faith. And at 17th level, Commune and Flame Strike. Paladins of Vengeance gain the following channel divinity abilities. Abjure Enemy, which allows the paladin to speak a prayer of denunciation, causing creatures within 60 feet to become frightened against a wisdom saving throw. And Fiends and Undead save at disadvantage. The creature remains frightened until it receives damage, or 1 minute passes. Channel Divinity also grants the Paladin of Vengeance the Vow of Enmity ability, which allows them a bonus action to channel divinity to gain advantage on attack rolls against a specific creature and last for 1 minute or until the creature is dead. At 7th level, the Paladin gains the Relentless Avenger ability, which allows them to supernaturally move up to half their speed if they hit an enemy with an attack of opportunity as part of the same reaction. The movement itself does not provoke attacks of opportunity. Beginning at 15th level, the Vow of Enmity gives the Paladin greater power over their foe. When a creature under the effect of Vow of Enmity makes an attack, the Paladin can use the reaction to make a melee weapon attack against the creature if it is within range. And at 20th level, a Paladin following the path of vengeance can take the form of the Angelic Avenger, undergoing a transformation for 1 hour. Wings sprout from the Paladin's back, granting them a flying speed of 60 feet. And they emanate an aura of menace in a 30-foot radius, forcing enemies within the aura to succeed at a wisdom saving throw or become frightened for 1 minute or until they take damage. These abilities can be used once per long rest. And Paladins of the Oath of Vengeance gain the following spells. At 3rd level, Bane and Hunter's Mark. At 5th level, Hold Person and Misty Step. At 9th level, Haste and Protection from Energy. At 13th level, Banishment and Dimension Door, and at 17th level, Hold Monster and Scrying. Beyond these individual powers, all paladins gain the following abilities. Beginning at 5th level, a paladin can attack twice instead of once whenever they attack on their turn. At 6th level, whenever the paladin or a friendly creature within 10 feet of the paladin must make a saving throw, the creature gains a bonus to the saving throw equal to the paladin's charisma modifier, with a minimal bonus of +1. The paladin must be conscious to grant this bonus. At 18th level, the range of this aura increases to 30 feet. Starting at 10th level, the paladin and friendly creatures within 10 feet of the paladin can't be frightened, as long as the paladin is conscious. At 18th level, the range of this aura increases to 30 feet. By 11th level, the paladin is so suffused with righteous might that all their melee weapon strikes carry divine power with them. Whenever they hit a creature with a melee weapon, the creature takes an extra 1d8 radiant damage. And at 14th level, the paladin can use an action to end one spell on themselves or on one willing creature that they touch. The paladin can use these features a number of times equal to their charisma modifier, and these abilities can be renewed once per long rest. As the paladin class benefits primarily from both strength and charisma, races that have bonuses in these stats would be best suited to playing a paladin, namely Zariel Tieflings and Dragonborn. But any race can be a paladin, and you shouldn't allow yourself to get too caught up in the stats. Now, paladins in Baldur's Gate 3 will be an interesting challenge to roleplay, because unlike many other classes, which are effectively blank slates and have no prescriptions, a paladin most certainly must follow the principles of his oath. You can decide to play your fighter character whichever way you want. But the same is not true for a paladin with an oath of devotion. Of course, it is doubtful that in a video game like Baldur's Gate 3, you would be penalized for not living up to your oath, so technically you could violate it. But adhering to the oath represents something different than the role-playing free-for-all you have with almost every other class, and thus warrants attention and a different touch in my view. I above all hope for some interesting reactivity in terms of paladin oaths and the gods they follow. What about you? Is the Paladin the one class you've been wanting to play since launch? Let me know your thoughts on the class in the comment section. And as always, thank you for tuning in. Please leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe as it really helps out the channel, and I'll check you out next time. Take care.